Over the last 24 years, thousands of families in Donegal, Mayo and surrounding counties done as they do in many other countries around the world. They invested their savings or took out a loan to either buy or build their own house. Hard-working people who understand that this kind of investment offers security for the future or a start in life for their children.
We got married in 2005 and moved in 2005, so we were just delighted the house was finished, and it took a long time coming, but we finally got in. After building the house in Donegal's Isle of Doe, Pamela and Kieran McLaughlin would discover cracking on the walls of their home.
2007,
yeah.
The birth of the first child.
We had our first child.
We were painting the house and it was full of cracks, so we went to the local paint man to ask what could we do for the cracks, and he told us. Painted them up, and by the winter time they have got bigger again.
These cracks would later be traced back to the manufacturing of the dense aggregate concrete blocks used in their home's construction.
This would be the cracks here, runs from top to bottom, and then she kicks out in the bottom here. This is the reaction that you have from the mica.
An independent test funded by the family would later confirm that the building blocks had a Muscovite mica content of between 60 and 80%.
So Muscovite mica is a type of mica that we find in the bedrock here in Inishowen. Now, Muscovite mica is a silicate mineral that forms in sort of very fine glassy sheets. So it's a very flaky mineral, and the minerals can flake apart and they can flex as well too.
In the construction industry, dense aggregate concrete blocks are used for load-bearing walls because of their high compressive strength. When manufacturing concrete blocks, aggregates such as sand, gravel, crushed stone or slag is mixed with concrete. It is extremely important that Muscovite mica or other deleterious materials do not find their way into the aggregate.
Muscovite mica absorbs water and swells and cracks concrete blocks, so you've got to be really careful when you're mixing the aggregate together when you're producing the blocks, and if you get that wrong, the block can be weak if you're not particularly putting enough cement in. Then when the block's manufactured, it can also hold water, it can attract water to its surface, and if you've got a wet block in Ireland and that water freezes, and you get this sort of freeze-thaw process, can cause blocks to crack apart.
According to the Irish Statute Book, concrete blocks which are produced from natural aggregate shall not contain harmful minerals in sufficient quantity as to affect adversely the strength or durability of the concrete.
And then this side then, there was a storm one weekend and she just decided to give up.
It was a full day rain, wasn't it? And then it was the next morning then we came down, and there it was lying on the ground. The
amount of Muscovite mica in the concrete blocks used to construct the McLaughlin home has now rendered the building unstable and extremely dangerous. As sections of their house began to collapse during the night as they slept, Pamela and Kieran must now accept the fact that the building has to be demolished.
Well, how does he feel when he's heard the word demolish?
Oh my God, awful. It was
everybody was like, you shouldn't have to demolish it, but the engineer was saying the only way to fix it is demolish it.
Yeah, the engineer had said that years and years ago to us, but we were like, there's no way, you couldn't have to demolish a good house. It's still a new house. It's very hard to accept.
The McLaughlin home is now just one of thousands of structures in Donegal and Mayo facing demolition, as insurance companies are no longer willing to cover any home that has any percentage of Muscovite mica. This has led to a massive campaign by homeowners who now seek full compensation for the homes which have to be replaced.
Yeah, my name is Eamon Jackson. I am an affected homeowner. I was also the first vice chairperson of the Mica Action Group, and I'm now the chairperson of the Mica Action Group. This is the gable end of our house. This is the most exposed end, so as such you can see the web-like cracking all over the wall, which is signature deleterious materials within the block. Mica Action Group was set up in 2013. The engineer who helped us set it up, he came to my home in 2007. He had said that he had seen quite a lot of houses with similar kind of cracking that didn't look like settlement cracks. He said there's a little bit more to this. Most of these homes were built kind of from 96 on, and really, we didn't see the worst cases of cracking until the winter of 2010, which was the big freeze.
As the cases continued to grow, similarities began to emerge regarding the origin of the blocks that contained the deleterious minerals.
There are 6 counties that the working group are working for right now. The only county that has mica present is Donegal. I know the Mica Action Group had done a survey of homeowners. As a result of that survey, we found out that 90% of the mica homes were supplied by one supplier.
The majority of the homeowners affected by the Muscovite Mica Mineral claim that effective blocks were bought here at Cassidy Brothers Concrete Products Limited, who have been operating in Donegal for over 75 years. We contacted Cassidy's, who declined our invitation for an interview.
I think with the Mica Action Group, we've always known who it was. I mean, we knew where we got our blocks from. There was a legal action taking place between 7 homeowners in Carndonagh and Cassidy's at the time. The barrister said, "You're going to win your case, but there's not a penny there. Cassidy's have no insurance." And that's what the barrister told them.
Although the Irish statute book states what minerals should be present in the aggregate mix, it also states that the manufacturer shall satisfy himself that the blocks conform to the requirements of this specification and, if required, forward a certificate to the purchaser.
Nobody was measuring for them. All the testing that was done on the blocks was always to do with the compressive strength of the block. And the blocks coming out were fully compliant to that strength test. But unfortunately, nobody looked at the components, the constituents within the block to see, well, okay, are there any deleterious materials in there? What is the percentage of those deleterious materials? There was no geologist on site, and the reason for that was because of poor regulation from the government.
This industry, self-certification and self-regulation, has been seen by homeowners as poor regulation by the government. This on top of dissatisfaction with the 90% redress scheme set up in 2020, thousands of homeowners have been taken to the streets of Dublin demanding a 100% redress scheme from the government.
What do we want? 100%! When do we want it? Now! This is a human rights issue for all families and all homes.
This is going on in public buildings, schools, homes. They expect us to move out of our houses and live in caravans, live in sheds, when the people of Dublin get a house to live on. We can't even get on the scheme. The scheme's not even affordable to get onto. They don't want us to get €6,000 before we can get on the scheme. There's old age pensioners should be putting their feet up, and they've just left them hanging. They've no income to come in. They're living in fear in the last years of their lives in this country.
I'm living in a house with 4 young children, and my chimney's ready to come down, and I haven't the money to rent another premises.
I have a house that in the next couple of years, 4 or 5 years, could be falling to the ground. And I worked hard all my days to have it, and now at the end of the day I have nothing.
Standards have changed. 2 standards have changed. They've increased the minimum standard strength for a block. So the compressive strength minimum has increased of the block. However, I think in 2014 there was also a regulation to do with the deleterious material content within the block, and that was passed in 2014. The however to that is that it's still self-regulation. There's nobody governing it. The local county councils are meant to take the product out and test it. They're still not doing that.
What do the families whose homes have been affected by Mica want?
They want 100%. 100%
Just
redress.
want the homes that they built reinstated
Yeah.
to what they were.
I know.
You know.
And not at their expense either.
Yeah.
They didn't cause this problem. They shouldn't have to pay the price. We are paying the price anyway by having to demolish our home, but we shouldn't have to pay for it again.
The thought of what I have to go through over the next 1 to 2 years, the things that we'll miss out on, where are we going to live for those 1 or 2 years? When you buy bricks and mortar, you think to yourself, this is, you know, this is where we're going to be. This is where we're going to be waked. They'll sell this home on, and it'll be a start in life for them, or they'll use it themselves. I think The real impact of the Mica Scandal has yet to be shown. Right now we're just seeing the cracks, but the impact, what this is going to have, and it is going to take up to 20 years, the impact of 20 years of rebuilding Donegal is going to be a nightmare.